Are you afraid of getting dementia? Do you often feel forgetful? Do you have an older parent that you are worried about? Or do you want to know the difference between normal forgetfulness and dementia? If you are, then this video is for you. Forgetting someone's name does not necessarily mean you have dementia, but forgetting how to use something you've used for decades may be a very different warning sign. You forget where you put your keys, you walk into a room and forget why you went there, or struggle to remember someone's name, and suddenly you wonder, is this normal aging or is it dementia? This fear is incredibly common, especially after the age of 60, but here is the important truth. Normal aging can cause some changes in memory. Dementia is different. Today, we'll explain the difference between normal forgetfulness and warning signs that deserve medical attention. Let's start with something reassuring. As we age, our brains can change. You may take longer to remember a name, forget where you placed something, need more time to learn new information, occasionally forget an appointment, and walk into a room and forget why you went there. These experiences can happen to many healthy older adults. Memory is not a perfect recording system. Even younger people forget things. The important question is not simply, did you forget something? The more important question is, how is the memory problem affecting your everyday life? That distinction is crucial. Let's imagine you see an old friend. You recognize their face. You know where you know them from. You remember many details about your relationship, but their name temporarily disappears from your memory. You might say, I know your name, just give me a second. Then, 10 minutes later, the name suddenly comes back to you. This type of occasional difficulty can happen with normal aging. But there is a difference between I temporarily forgot your name and I don't recognize who you are or why I know you. The second situation is more concerning. The problem is not just forgetting a piece of information. It may involve losing the meaning or context connected to that information. Everyone loses their keys. You put them somewhere unusual. You search around the house. Eventually you find them. You may even say, I can't believe I put them there. This is frustrating, but it can happen with normal forgetfulness. Now imagine something different. You find the keys in an unusual location, but you accuse someone of stealing them, or you repeatedly place objects in strange locations and cannot remember how they got there, or you are unable to retrace your steps at all. The pattern becomes more important than a single incident. One forgotten object does not diagnose dementia. Repeated problems that interfere with daily life deserve evaluation. One of the most important differences between normal age-related forgetfulness and dementia is function. Can the person still manage familiar activities? For example, paying bills, taking medications correctly, cooking familiar meals, using household appliances, driving familiar roads, managing appointments, and shopping independently. Someone with normal aging may occasionally forget a bill, but they remember later and correct the mistake. A person with dementia may begin to have repeated difficulty managing finances. They may pay the same bill multiple times, forget important payments, or become confused about how familiar financial tasks work. This is not about one mistake. It is about a persistent decline in the ability to perform tasks that were previously familiar. Occasionally taking a wrong turn can happen to anyone. You may be distracted, you may be tired, you may be driving somewhere unfamiliar. But repeatedly becoming lost in places you have known for years is more concerning. For example, getting confused in your own neighborhood, forgetting how to get home from a familiar location, becoming disoriented in a familiar shopping center, and not knowing where you are or how you arrived there. These changes should not simply be dismissed as, that's just getting older. They deserve medical evaluation. Another possible warning sign is a noticeable change in language. Everyone occasionally forgets a word. You may say, the thing you used to, and eventually remember the word. That alone is usually not a reason to panic. But more concerning changes may include frequently losing track of conversations, repeating the same questions, using the wrong words repeatedly, struggling to understand familiar conversations, and having increasing difficulty expressing basic thoughts. Again, the important issue is the pattern and progression. A single forgotten word is not dementia. A persistent decline in communication can be a reason to seek evaluation. Memory is not the only thing that can change. Sometimes changes in behavior or personality are noticed first by family members. For example, a person who was previously organized may become unusually disorganized. Someone who was socially engaged may suddenly withdraw. A previously cautious person may begin making unusually risky financial decisions. Or someone may become increasingly suspicious without a clear reason. These changes do not automatically mean dementia. Depression, anxiety, medication side effects, sleep problems, and other medical conditions can also affect behavior and memory. But significant new changes should be discussed with a healthcare professional. This is one of the most important messages in this video. Memory problems can have many causes. For example, poor sleep, depression, anxiety, stress, medication side effects, vitamin deficiencies, thyroid problems, hearing or vision problems, alcohol, and certain medical conditions. Some causes may be treatable. That is why you should not assume that every memory problem is dementia. If you or someone you love notices a persistent change in memory or thinking, a medical evaluation can help identify the cause. Here is a simple framework. Normal forgetfulness. You forget something occasionally. You may remember it later. You can often use reminders or strategies to compensate. Your daily life remains mostly independent. More concerning, cognitive decline. The problem is persistent. It gradually worsens. It affects daily activities. You may become confused in familiar situations. You may struggle with tasks that were previously automatic. Other people may notice a significant change. The key word is change, not one forgotten name, not one misplaced key, but a persistent decline from your previous level of functioning. Forgetting a name does not automatically mean dementia, but repeatedly losing the ability to manage familiar tasks, navigate familiar places, or function independently deserves medical attention. The most important thing is not to panic and not to ignore significant changes. If you or someone you love is experiencing progressive memory or thinking problems, speak with a healthcare professional. If you found this helpful, subscribe for evidence-based health videos explained simply by a doctor. And if there's a health topic you've always wanted explained without the myths, leave it in the comments. I might cover it in the next video.